It is a beautiful spring day, ideal conditions for a bit of foraging. So I'm gonna look around the farm now for some food for free, and we're gonna make some spring pakora. But this isn't really a foraging or a cookery channel. So while we go, I'm gonna just talk about some of the folklore about some of the plants we'll be meeting today. Let's go. So I'm just on a farm here today, and here we go, right off the bat. There's a couple of things. This is wild garlic, otherwise known as rams onions. This is a really easy one, most people recognise this. There's more patches of wild garlic elsewhere, so I'll get more of that later. This here, look. It's hogweed, growing right next to the wild garlic. So this is really good. If you've been watching this channel, you will have seen me forage this before. This is probably Britain's most underrated wild edible. It's really unusual tasting, delicious. Hogweed. Another easy one right here, just in the yard. This is dead nettle. Nettles are also good, but you know, these ones don't sting you, so easier to gather. So get some of those. They've also, you can identify them by these little honey flowers here. There we go, loads of them, look. So I'll probably strip the leaves and flowers off them in a mo. While we're in the yard, here's another easy one. Dandelion. Ooh, he's a dandelion. So that's from Norman French, dandelion, lion's tooth. So called because of the shape of the leaf there, look. Sometimes old local folk names are also dragon's tooth, which is interesting, isn't it? Another folk name for this is piss a bed, because it promotes urine and makes you wet the bed. So with these, the leaves here are bitter, so it does deepen and broaden the flavour profile of your fritter or salad. I try not to put too many leaves in salads just because it is a bit bitter, but they are very, very good for you. So the younger, smaller leaves, the greener leaves, are generally less bitter. But what I do is just chuck in the petals because they are edible and milder and sweeter, and they just give a nice colour as well. So some of these are going in. Obvious solar symbolism with these. They turn and face the sun. They open up on a sunny day like today. So a sunflower, small sunflower. Historically, if one was to perform some sort of folk or maybe piece of Western ceremonial magic and you needed something to represent the sun or solar energy, this would probably suffice. Other people might use sunflowers, but this has the same symbolism in myth and folklore. I've done a video about the dandelion, I'll put it up here. So let's just get a few more of them. Add a bit of colour in there. So here's more hogweed here, look. This is probably going to be the meat of the fritter. You want little young shoots like this, or a bit later in the year there are florets, which look like little heads of broccoli. They're really tasty, but just little shoots like this is all good. More hogweed here, look. It's growing outside my home. Again, these little shoots are what you want, but you can have these. So that is what hogweed looks like. Again, not to be confused with giant hogweed, which is a bit more toxic. Having said that, even common hogweed is a bit toxic. If the sap, if you sort of get that sap on your fingers, it activates with sunlight and slightly burns. So it does need to be cooked, but that's fine. Very nutritious. So hogweed is called hogweed because it's often fed, or used to be fed, to pigs and cows as well. It's also called cow's parsnip, I think. But the idea is it cures various ailments in livestock, like rheumatism and things like that, and makes them hardier and tougher. That's probably why it's associated with resilience in folklore and magic and mythology, strength and resilience. So if you need to toughen up a bit, add some hogweed to your diet. Great source of vitamin C and all sorts of good stuff. So it does cure a lot of minor ailments. So there is, science behind the folklore. So we're just going to go for a bit of a walk here through this copse. All these yellow flowers here. They're a traditional symbol of the coming of spring. Also known as pilewort, because it cures piles. The joy of spring. You just see it carpeting this forest floor here, and you can sort of see why. Foraging in this way for your meal obviously takes quite a lot of time. But I do find it really connects you with the natural world and puts you in a bit of a meditative state, which is good for your body, mind and soul. And also knowing the folk names for plants as well. I find that's a really good way to sort of connect yourself with the mindset of our ancestors as well, who would have known these folk names and been very familiar with all these plants. And it's free. So, you might not be a particularly time-rich person, but if you ever do have the time, I really recommend just foraging a meal once in a while. So the bluebells are just starting to come up here, walking down a public right-of-way behind the farm now called Crow Lane. There they are up there. But if you want to know about the folklore of the bluebell, I'll put a link to that video just here. Just gonna have a little look over here. There used to be some chickweed growing. Yeah, there used to be great big tangled clumps of it in this field, but I don't think it's been wet enough. It's very, needs just the right balance of things, chickweed, but it's sort of part of its folklore. Come on, chickweed. Where are you? Need to feed my chicken. Nah, it's just not the right conditions. I'm going to go back down to the right of way where it's a bit boggy and see if we can find any down there. Back onto the footpath. All right, mate. There's a rook up there. He's not happy about me. Chickweed. Chick, 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 chick. Chickweed for my chicken. Chick, 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 chick. Here we go. Seeing some chickweed already. This little paddock is a bit more moist. Come on, chick, 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 chick. There we go. Is that chickweed? No, I think that's dog mercury. Dog's mercury is poisonous, so don't know why I stuck that in my mouth. Hope you all feel safe. Foraging lessons with Story Crow. Here we go, here's chickweed. There we go. See those little white flowers? Tell you that it's chickweed. Also, don't know if the camera will be able to see this, but the dead giveaway is they have a line of hairs going up the stalk. They're not hairy all over, it's just one line. Dead giveaway. Also, Very unique taste. Not like that dog's mercury that tasted horrible. These taste like you can eat them. So called chickweed because they are fodder for chickens traditionally.
Get out my house.
So I'll take some of this back for the hen
Here, what's this?
in exchange for her egg.
Oh yeah, mate, bit of chickweed. Oh, you're turning your nose up at it, are you? Come on, it's your name's sake. Eat the chickweed. Give me an egg.
There, you see it in the grass here? There it is, little white flowers, little white leaves. Quite long, it gets lower to the ground and bushier than that. There's heaps of it around. If it was wetter, this would be growing a lot thicker. There would be a carpet of it. You can just get bagfuls and bagfuls of this sometimes. But this is a really good base for a fritter, along with wild garlic and hogweed and stuff like that. So, chickweed. Look, there's heaps of it. It's everywhere. See here, look. See it just hiding in the grass. Once you get the knack of spotting it, then you can forage it pretty quickly. So this has been a friend of man for thousands and thousands of years. When you forage chickweed, you are stepping into the shoes or the footprints of your ancestors. All across Europe, it's even spread to North America. So I think even in Native American traditions, this features. This has been found in Neolithic and Mesolithic grave sites, so it's been a part of our diet for a long time. In sort of folklore and folk magic and associations and symbolism and things like that, it's normally associated with fidelity in a relationship, you know, long-lasting love and temperance and calmness and serenity and things like that, mutual kind of affection. Probably because it's just a very delicate plant. It needs the conditions to be just right, and then boom, it becomes a carpet at your feet.
No, it just keeps going. Keeps going, it's everywhere.
So I think you can see the white hairs, which are just sort of on one side and the other, but they don't go all the way around. So that's how you tell. That's one of the kind of identifiers of chickweed. And the little white flowers, of course. Getting quite a lot of chickweed now, both for the hen and for our pakoras.
Ah, okay, interesting. Primroses.
I was not expecting to see you here.
Classic spring flower, this. So the flowers are edible and they're really nice. They sort of taste like honey. Pop some of those in there.
The leaves are also edible, but they're a bit bitter, so I will add some in just to increase the flavour and nutritional profile. But the flowers you can just go nuts with. Just eat them. Associations are normally the fairy realm with primroses. You might leave them as an offering on your threshold or something like that, just to keep the others happy. Strong associations with the fairy kingdom. Thank you, my friends.
Ah, here we go. So, I mean, this is edible. This is goosegrass. It's the one that sticks to you. There. Maybe you've had fun with that as a child. It is edible. You sort of have to cook it so all the little Velcro-like barbs soften up. I mean, it's fine if you want to bulk up a fritter. There, see? Sticks to you. Goosegrass. Why is it called goosegrass? I don't actually know, you know. Although I have been told once that if you ever say boo to a goose, you will turn into a piece of goosegrass and then the goose will eat you. I haven't tested that theory out just in case it's true. There's also a saying that if you ever shiver, if you ever get a random shiver when you're not cold, it's because a goose has walked over your grave.
I love that because it's a sort of folk admission of the non-temporal nature of time. Some future goose has walked over the site of your internal. This is all dog's mercury here. This is what I foolishly ate a bit of earlier. So dog's mercury. Associated, of course, with magic and the god Mercury and transportation and psychopompery and commerce and messengers and all of that. Dog's mercury. Very well-established uses in folk magic. Dog's mercury, but not for eating. This is mint or water mint. It's a bit muskier than maybe sort of spearmint or a mint you would grow in your garden, but this is everywhere in gardens and field margins in this village, which is called Minty. So I'll put a bit of that in, again, just to sort of broaden the flavour profile. Now these are cowslips. I would normally say don't actually forage these because they are endangered, but where I am in the southwest, they're actually pretty common and they're pretty delicious, so we're going to put those in. So look at the abundance with which wild garlic grows. So if you are making a salad, say, you would want the little tender leaves like that. They're just less pungent. But if you're sort of cooking them up, I think you can get the bigger leaves. Also, what I really like is these little unopened flower buds as well. And later in the year, you get the seed heads too. So do check out my wild garlic video if you want to know more about the underworld associations of wild garlic. We've found garlic bulbs and garlic heads in many, many burials, including Egyptian tombs, either as a snack for the deceased or because of its associations, perhaps symbolic associations with death and passing away. Here we go. More hogweed here. Nice little young shoots. Here we go, look. So here is the hogweed or cow parsnip. And here is the cow parsley. Parsley? Parsnip. Parsnip? Parsley. Neither taste like parsley or parsnips. Yeah, so here we go, look. That's a nice tender stem of hogweed. You can cook it just like asparagus, you know, steam it or fry it off. You just want all these little fine hairs to be gone, basically. So that is perfect. Just a little slightly curled up leaves like that, still just unfurling. Nice and tender, that one. And look at all that blackthorn blossom. Beautiful. What, are you following me, are you? Come on then. What, you're acting like you haven't been following me? Oh, you're going that way now. All right, see you later. Okay, so this used to be my mum's walled garden. She would spend any spare minute she could in here. Mum died a few years ago. She's buried just behind me here. Always feel her energy in this garden. But the reason I'm coming here is because even though this garden has grown to seed, there are things to forage in it. All right, it's not quite the same as sort of wild foraging out there in the field margins and hedgerows, but still counts because none of this has really been planted. So more dead fennel here. So this is growing all over the place. It just seeds by itself and grows all over the field margins and roadsides. Don't want too much fennel, but it does add a bit of punch, doesn't it? Chuck some of that in there. Dad's growing his potatoes, look. That fennel is pungent. That's why you don't want too much in a fritter. It can kind of take over. Right, what else we got here? Ah! Ox eye daisies. Really easy to recognise ox eye daisy leaves. The flowers obviously haven't come up yet. Look here, loads of ox eye daisy leaves. These have got this really nice licoricey taste. Just really rounds out that flavour profile. It's like cordon bleu here. It's like Gordon Ramsay over here. It's going to be the finest spring fritter you've ever witnessed. Fact. There we go, look. See these, I mean, I suppose maybe Mum planted these years ago, but they come up, you know, perpetual. They come up every year. Don't really need to do anything. They just take over and they grow massive, big daisies. But yeah, some of them. Some more dead nettle, why not? Come here. With nettle, dead nettle and regular, it's usually the tips that pack the most goodness. Great source of all kinds of good stuff, nettles. So, continuing the more sort of farmyard aspects of this foraging journey. Here is the nice apple tree. Putting a bit of apple blossom in there. This is, I mean, most people wouldn't bother with this because, you know, it's just, there's nothing really to it, is there? But it's quite nice. I quite like it. Apple. Often symbolising abundance, joy, eternal life. I've done a video on the apple. I'll put it here. Giving. All kinds of things. Look here. This is Primrose City. Loads of them, look. Bloody loads of them, mate. And look, you get purple ones as well. I don't know if the yellow ones are associated with certain types of fairy and the purple ones are associated with other types of fairy. Would seem to make sense. And look, we have some lighter purple ones there for the light purple fairies. So yeah, very strong associations with the little folk in the folklore, these. So if you want to attract fairies, then bring some of these into your home. Put them by your bed. Or put them in a fritter. Thank you, little friends. Ah, here, look. So this is always something to watch out for. This is hairy bittercress. It's hairy, it's bitter, and it's cress. If you grow cress, I mean, unless you live in an urban environment, you probably don't need to, because this stuff grows everywhere. You're normally on sort of gravelly paths like that. Look, red ones here for the red fairies. Look at all this fennel. See, no one planted this. It's just there. It's just seeded itself in the yard here. Ah, so a bit of Roman tile there. The Romans were here 2,000 years ago, and they are the ones that probably introduced this fennel 2,000 years ago. So, fennel, like I say, the Romans brought this here, or similar plants. It's interesting because this very farm, this used to be a Roman settlement. So the Romans arrived here 2,000 years ago and built a pottery. So this bit of clay here, this fired tile, is from this earth that I'm standing on, fired here about 2,000 years ago. It's funny then that the symbolism of fennel, it's to do with fire. It's to do with fire. Prometheus used a fennel plant, like that one right in front of me there, to bring fire down from Mount Olympus to mankind. And Roman soldiers would have fennel tea before battles sometimes to give them sort of strength and vitality. So fire associations, it's also used as a ward to ward off evil from your home. So interesting that the Romans brought this fennel here, and it's still here to this day. While we're on the subject of Romans, they are also said to have brought nettles to the island of Britain. These also are associated with war, with the god Mars, or Ares if you prefer the Greek names. Very obvious to see why spiky and stinging plant. So again, going back to folk and ceremonial magic, if you were to do some sort of piece of war magic, you might use nettle as part of your symbolic web of associations. Practical associations with war, the Romans, I'm told, used to whip their bare legs with nettles, so all the little bumps and stings would make them immune to cold because of all the histamine. So an actual functional link to war as well as through symbology. Always these things are linked, aren't they? So there's going to be a very sort of symbolically complex fritter now. I've gathered enough. I've spent far longer doing this than I normally would because I've been talking to you lovely lot. So let's go and make some lunch. So first, I'm just going to dice all of this up. Just going to chop it all up. So lots of stuff there. So what I might do is get rid of, I'm going to put all the hogweed stalks in there. That's fine. I'm going to chop it up real fine though. I think I can just go ahead and dice that. Maybe I would like to get rid of, yeah, so the stalks of the nettles, I'll strip all the flowers and the leaves off them, and the stalks of the dandelions I don't need, I'll just take the petals off. So there we are, diced that up, chopped it quite roughly. So the main bulk of it is wild garlic, hogweed and chickweed. All the other stuff I gathered is just sort of additional flavour and nutrition and symbology. So there we are. So chickweed and wild garlic and hogweed fritters, or pakoras. I guess pakora, because I'm going to be using gram flour. So that actually is the only thing that is going to cost me any money. If you're interested, by the way, in foraging, these are some books that you might like. I really like this one by Ray Mears because it has a lot on Neolithic diet and practice and what our ancestors used to do, hunter-gathering ancestors, how they used to live and what foods they used to eat. So that is kind of what I've been talking about in terms of foraging as a way to reconnect with our ancestors. So that's Ray Mears there. This is quite a cute little book, The Folklore of Plants. Not much about foraging here, but interesting information about folkloric and magical associations of various plants. The info is actually a bit thin, but it's a cute book. This one is excellent, The Forager's Calendar. It's quite humorously written actually, but it's got really good photos in it. It's really good, and everything is done by season. So you just find out what time of year it is. It's for North Europe, really. It's for the UK, really. So it would be of more interest to you if you are in this country. But The Forager's Calendar by John Wright. Really, really, really good if you want to get into foraging. I really recommend that. There's also this rather lovely little one called Hedgerow by John Wright, introduced by Hugh Fernley Whittingstall. Yeah, so this one actually has some quite nice recipes in it, including, I think, yeah, there we go, hogweed tempura. And that's not quite what we're making, but yeah, that's just tempura batter covered on some hogweed. So yeah, there's some books for you if you are interested in foraging. Right, so you want a big bowl like that, or a wok, because that's all I've got. And you can use flour. You can just use flour. Gram flour, obviously vegan. So if you want to be vegan, then you can use
chickpea flour. Like I say, it's the only thing I've actually bought, but it was only £1.99. I'm actually going to probably put an egg in this and fry it in bacon fat. And you could measure this if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to pour it in. There we go, like that. Now I'm going to make a batter with some of this Dark Star Starlink IPA, hoppy West Coast IPA. This was on offer in the supermarket for absolutely nothing. I wonder why. Pour some of that in there. I'm just making this up, really. Yum. Delicious. If you own a wooden spoon, always use it to stir your batter. Oh, that is good IPA. Delicious. I can taste the Tesla stock market shares plummet with every sip. You want a nice gloopy consistency. Make more than you think, because obviously all that's got to go in there. Probably a waste of IPA, actually. So at this stage, you might want to add some, if you're making pakoras, you might add curry powder or turmeric or something in there. I'm not going to do that because I just want all the nice, subtle flavour of all these herbs and things I've gathered. So I'm just going to leave it as is, just gram flour and a bit of beer, but I am going to put an egg in it. It's the moment of truth. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Bollocks. She's laying them somewhere else. Right, it's an egg hunt. It's nearly Easter. Let's go on an egg hunt. Aha! Excellent. There we go. Only need one. Mix that in. A little bit smoked. Salt there. Bit of black pepper. And here we go. So now it's just a matter of chucking that in there, like that. And just mixing that up. It's probably, might as well get your hands mucky. Tamsin made me. This is the first spoon Tamsin ever made me. Many years ago. Right. Let's mix this all up. I'm going to put the camera down now. See you in a mo. You're very cross with me.
Yes.
Why?
Your chicken is running around right over by your dad's with nobody out there.
I know, she's a menace.
Well, I thought you said you were going to make sure she was round here.
Well, she was, but she's been following me around.
I should have her back. If you don't, I should come and pinch her. I don't want her dead.
She normally follows me around.
It's nicer than over there. I'm fighting the top to get her.
Oh, I think she'll be all right. I'm keeping an eye on her. She's normally round here.
Mine are laying 2 eggs a day, some of them.
Blimey.
I can't believe it. I think it's like novelty. They get up early.
Yeah.
And then I have like 4 dozen eggs. Harriet's gone on the farm with all those with her grandmother and other things.
Yeah.
I'm taking some, obviously.
What, taking some eggs? So just cooking these fritters while I chat with my gran.
Back to see what your dad's doing, I suppose.
All right, because I've burnt my fritters now. I'm not blaming you, but it has happened. That is amazing. Look how green it is.
Nice. What's that, sriracha?
Mango chutney. Obviously that's taken ages. I would normally be a bit quicker like that. But it's Sunday, you know. I've got time. Tamsin's doing a workshop up at the top of the field on the farm. I feel so at peace just spending an hour walking around in this weather, slowly foraging, thinking about the folk associations of the various plants I'm picking, and it does feel like stepping back into a kind of timelessness that I expect our ancestors, especially the way back in the hunter-gathering times, would have known very well, a certain stillness and closeness to the natural world. So that concludes this foraging and folklore video. If any of you are interested in wooden spoons or carving your own wooden spoon, do check out Tamsin's website. If you live in the local area, she does give wood carving lessons, or you can buy a wooden spoon from her, or if you become a Raven tier Patreon of mine, then I will send you a wooden spoon / Ogham stick. See you later, guys. Bye.